For SEO, how useful would it be to use heat maps, like softwares that could measure scroll rate, like visual, like clicks on sections of a website?
Okay. Okay. And you'd said you've seen some tools with this kind of data in it before?
Yeah, I've seen it in like a personal, because I have like a personal website in the past. I was able to keep it, but I actually use like plugins or extensions on my Chrome. I have page analytics, and then from time to time I can see like a heat map.
Okay. Okay.
Shows you the like section as that is that more.
Brian, your voice is breaking up a little bit.
Yeah. I can't tell if
I
it's
see.
your voice breaking up or if it's a bad connection.
I think it's because
It's probably my mic.
Yeah, it's the way you have your mic there. And Brian, is this related to what we're doing for our client?
Yeah, kind of. But I just remembered seeing it in the past before. Because like what we're using for the like pro website creators is that we use a specific tool for heat maps. But I did see in the past that you can actually just see it, or there's one instance where you can see clicks on a website using like an extension that I forgot. But anyway, in general, basically my question is like, what's your opinion on using heat map to measure clicks and worship those sections? I don't know if that's the right term.
Yeah. So I think it's first of all, it's really important to make a distinction between SEO as a marketing channel and what I'd call conversion rate optimization. And I put heat maps within conversion rate optimization as a category. So in other words, Google doesn't use heat maps to rank a website. It does not use interactive data with a page to rank it. Whether that's scrolls or bounce rates or clicks on links within sites, or even clicks on links from the search results, that is not a factor in how Google decides to rank websites. So the relationship between a heat map and SEO doesn't exist. There is none. Google does not use that data to determine how to serve pages to its users. However, heat maps are really great in getting more out of the existing traffic that you have. You've worked hard to get a visitor to visit your website through SEO. We want that visitor to do something. We want them to convert. And heat maps can do things like show us, are people clicking on something that they expect to click and nothing happened? Are they frustrated? Did we lose that visitor? Are people able to even notice our call to action, or are the other distracting designs on the page? You know, heat maps allow us to see things like that allow us to make sure we can get the maximum number of conversions off of a visit. But it's not a function. It doesn't affect how Google serves that page to users. Yeah. Dave,
yeah, like Brian, if you remember what we were doing for our client, what we noticed is, so in this one area at the top is, you know, the heading, then below is not the top of the page, the top of the section is a heading, and then there's a subheading, and then a button, right? Well, we would see that people were clicking on all three of those things: the heading, the subheading, and then the button. But we don't have links on the subheading itself. So that was an insight that we got. I'm like, I don't know. The other thing is that I realized, and I'm trying to learn this lesson. Unfortunately, I have to learn it over and over and over and over again, is that I am not the market. I don't represent, what users do. You need to get data.
Yeah.
And I have to continue to stop thinking about it from my perspective. It's like, why in the world would I click on a subheading? I have no idea why I would, but people are. So we need to put things in place to take advantage of that. So that's what you're saying, David. That's related to getting the most out of people's visits to the page.
And with heat maps, I find heat maps can be confusing with that ambiguity that you're talking about, Dave.
Yeah.
Why would someone click on a heading? Well, one reason is that someone will click on something that they are literally reading. They don't expect it to do anything. But I don't know if you've noticed when you're reading a website, my mouse almost subconsciously will move based on what I'm reading. And sometimes just my brain will somehow click on something just because I'm reading it. Like I don't really expect an interaction. And so the clicks might reflect that someone's reading through your page. And that way a screen recording can be really helpful, right? Because if you see a screen recording and you see someone clicks on an element several times, Bing's Clarity product will do something like, what do they call them? Do you remember, Tricia? It was like dead click, no, frustrating, furious clicks.
Yeah, I can't remember the name.
I forget the name. They have a name for it, but it's like,
yeah,
they will track if someone just
rage clicks or
keeps
something.
rage clicking. That's
Rage
it.
click. It's like
someone
thinking
keeps
road
clicking
rage
on something.
Arr!
Because
Yeah, so,
they know, like this should do something, and they're rage
Mhm.
clicking.
yeah,
And it's funny, you could watch the screen recordings in Microsoft Clarity and watch the rage click, and that the screen recording helps you give context to understand. Sometimes people rage click because they're just kind of fiddling,
yeah,
but sometimes people rage click. There's like, contact me, it says, it is bold, and they're like, okay, I'm trying to contact you.
Mhm. Yes,
Well, there's
it
a missed opportunity, right? That convert that into a link, and then suddenly,
it was interesting when we last month did this for a meetup, and we showed a website, and basically, and I don't know who designed the site, but like the same exact thing where you would click on a phone number, it was clickable on the homepage, but then when you went to the service page, the same exact stuff wasn't clickable, and he didn't realize that. And you could see there was that click, and it was like, well, wait a minute, this had links on it. And when you would actually go to the exact one, you could see that page. Oh, this page needs updating because for some reason it's not clickable. And it was, but like if you were just skimming through it, you would think it was because it just looked like they copied the layout, but they missed something.
Hmm.
It was
Well,
really interesting.
The other thing that I found in going through some of the videos is, I mean, you go and you look at the clicks on a page, and then you'll see that there's, if you see one or two in an area, then okay, well, that's maybe like a random click. But if you start seeing a bunch, then that's something to take advantage of. The other thing is when you're looking at the videos, I mean, if you've got a page where you're like, why are there 20 clicks on that? I mean, how many videos do I have to freaking go through to maybe find one where somebody is clicking on it?
Yeah.
Right? And that's hard, especially if it's a high traffic site or relatively high traffic site. It's like, I could be watching 1,000 videos.
right?
Yeah.
So that's what we've found, and Brian, I think you've seen that too, is that it is very time consuming to go through all the data and really think about what makes sense and what doesn't. There's a few things that, there's a few things I think that are that'll be apparent, but sometimes you got to take it with a grain of salt, because you have to realize that, okay, they're looking at this with their phone versus they're looking at it on desktop. Right? Behavior is different. We've seen that on multiple pages. The behavior is different if somebody's looking on their phone versus their desktop.
Right.
And what they click on.
Right.
And it's like, okay. It's like on this one client site, we've got two options for them to click a quick quote and a longer quote. People on mobile click on the quick.
That's the best
People on desktop click on the long. Right? So we got to be careful when we're looking at this stuff to make sure we really think and not make wrong decisions.
Well, and that's the value of tools like Google Optimize, where you can do quick and easy A/B testing, where you can say, okay, are people trying to get somewhere, or are they just clicking? And you could do an A/B test to see if I convert this into a hyperlink, if you can even determine where that hyperlink should go to, right? If you convert a hyperlink, what happens? Do people seem to be satisfied, or do they seem to like come back because like, wait, I didn't really want to go there? You know?
Do you have something in Curious Ants about the what do you call it? The Google what is it?
It's called Google Optimize.
Optimize. Do you have something in Curious Ants?
I think so. The conversion rate optimization process in Curious Ants is pretty basic because it's written for all things and all people. It's not fleshed out. I think I mentioned some tools that are helpful, including Microsoft Clarity and Google Optimize, but I don't go into depth with them. One of the things that's most valuable, I think, in conversion rate optimization are these documents that Google produced a few years ago, which were, someone found them, but they're Google documents. Like someone found them, and it's Google's best practices for conversions off different purposes of websites. So if you have an e-commerce, be sure you do these best practices. If you have a lead gen, if you're real estate, if you sell cars. And so those links to those PDFs are on Curious Ants conversion rate optimization process. Some of it, Dave, is straightforward and obvious. Make sure there's a big button, very clear call to action. And I mean, you know as well as anybody how often designers don't do that. And sometimes designers don't do it because clients hate it, right? I have a client that recently was just so frustrated with lack of results. I literally went and put an obnoxious red button on their website, and instantly really worked. It was ugly and it was obnoxious, and it generated a lot of leads.
Yeah.
Right. I don't, what do you want? Do you want leads or you want pretty?
Yeah.
And, I'm sure pretty is important. Right.
Yeah.
But boy, that ugly button, that worked.
I think pretty is important from the perspective of presenting your brand appropriately so that people do click on, the button and want to work with you.
Well, there's pretty and then there's subtle.
Yeah.
Right. And you can make it pretty and not subtle. And that's the gold.
Yes.
If your call to action button blends in with your color palette in such a way where people can glance over it, that's pretty, but not going to work. Yeah, you could do the Dave Zimmerman strategy and make it a completely different, unbranded, ugly, standout color. It's going to work, but it also make your website look juvenile.
Yeah.
I never claim to be a designer.
Right.
I just want to lead.